How's it going, guys? Welcome back. It's your boy Mike from Seattle, and I want to talk to you today about my fifth rental property, a property that I just closed on, another duplex that's in the same market I bought my last couple properties in, Gary, Indiana, Northwest Indiana, kind of close to Chicago, about a 45-minute drive. This one, like my fourth rental property, is another seller finance deal. So it's a seller finance deal. It was off market. It's a duplex mirror image. Both sides of the duplex are exactly identical. It's a two-bed, one-bath, two-story duplex with a garage in the back, shared garage space in the back. And what I want to talk to you today about this is lay out the numbers, the timeline, a little bit about how I found it, give you a little info on this property for a couple different reasons. Number one, I want to always document exactly what I'm doing on my real estate journey. Number two, I want to hopefully inspire you to show you how you can get a good deal like this as well. I'm getting a 19.5% cash on cash return or yield for this property. So I'm going to show you how you can potentially run your numbers and find deals like this yourself. As always, guys, if you want to reach out to me with questions about where I invest, who my real estate agent is, different things like that, property managers I recommend in this area, other good investors you can network with in this area, leave me a comment down below, direct message me on Instagram. I'm happy to help anyone for free. I don't sell anything. I just literally just respond to comments and try to help people out. That's what I do. So let's jump into this property real quick because I'm excited to share with you the numbers, and then I'll just explain things from there. So this property, I actually closed on it about 6 weeks ago, and I've been a little lazy with YouTube lately and haven't got around to making the video on it, but it was closed in mid-November of 2021. The original purchase price of this property was $79,000 for a duplex. And I know some of you out there are like, dude, I can't find something like that in my area. Have no fear. Let not your hearts be troubled. In the Seattle area where I'm from, the duplex I live in that I house hack years ago when I bought it was $450,000. I said to myself, too expensive to buy another one of these. I'm going to go look out of state. So if you're saying to yourself, oh, I can't find that in my area, you're probably right. You probably can't. So stick around my channel and I can hopefully help you figure out how to better invest out of state and take advantage of opportunities like this where you can find a $79,000 duplex. All right, so the guy that I'm buying it from, landlord owns about 500 different properties, and he released a list to my property manager, and on that list were a bunch of different properties, about 50 of them, and he said, hey, I want to sell these for whatever reason. My mentor Mark bought a whole bunch, my friend Caleb bought a bunch of other guys, my real estate investing group purchased some as well. I had already purchased one single family home, and now I'm purchasing a second property, a duplex. Now, he had initially listed it at $79,000. Then he decided as a tenant moved out, it needed to be remodeled. So he remodeled one of the sides of the property of the duplex and relisted it for 10 grand more, $89,000. So my purchase price, and I'm going to jump back and forth here on my document with you. My purchase price on this property, $89,900. Call it $90K. My down payment, my terms with this guy are as follows. My down payment is 20% down, an interest rate of 4.9%, and it's amortized over 15 years. Now let me explain this real quick. Again, it's seller financing. I'm not using a bank. I'm not getting traditional lending from a bank. There's a lot of benefits to seller financing. I've done some videos on it. I'll cover them briefly here. Number one, it does not show up on your credit check as a loan. So like when I go and get a loan from another lender, they don't see my private seller finance deals. It's done under a land contract, so it's technically not a mortgage. And I'm able to not have one of my 10 total mortgages used up. On top of that, the other major benefit of seller financing is the lack of closing costs. There's no loan origination fees and underwriting fees and processing fees. And I'm not knocking on lenders. They have to get paid, and there's nothing wrong with that. And they provide a very valuable service. So I want them to be paid. But if I can figure out how to skip that and do business with someone that I trust, I don't know if trust is necessarily the right word, but maybe there's mutually assured destruction if we screwed each other over for whatever reason. But if I can avoid the closing costs associated with a regular loan, I'm going to try to do that because it just saves me money. So in this case, the terms, all right, 20% down. That's pretty good. You're usually going to get 20 or 25% down no matter who you use. The interest rate, 4.9%. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, Mike, I mean, come on, interest rates are at historic all-time lows. I just closed on one that I own or occupy at 2.7%, and I got a rental deal at 4%. You're not wrong. Okay, now there's a couple things to take into consideration here. The purchase price, $90,000. The difference between a 4% and a 5% interest rate on a small purchase price like $90,000 is like a $15 a month difference in payment. So I'm really not going to sweat the small stuff. I hate to say I don't sweat the small stuff because it is important sometimes to pay attention to the little things. And shoot, when I was in high school, everybody used to walk around and say, hey man, $20 is $20. Leave a comment down below if you get that reference. But if not, then just roll your eyes. So the interest rate, 4.9%. Have I got better rates before? Yes. Is this a bad interest rate? No, I don't think so. Does it affect my monthly payment? A little bit, but not very much. What affects it significantly more is the amortization, being only 15 years instead of a 30-year mortgage. And you might be saying, well, Mike, how come you didn't get a 30-year mortgage? Well, I could have. One of the options with this gentleman who provided me these properties was to just get traditional financing, buy it outright, and go that route. But I didn't want to. Even though it's a 15-year amortization, which impacts my cash flow because my monthly payment is more, I still did it because it still cash flows beautifully, and I'll show you those numbers here in a minute. He's an older guy, he's in his 70s, and to expect him to sign off on a 30-year mortgage, you know, he's sitting there looking around like, well, you know, I'm 73, 74, do I really think I'm going to outlive Betty White and make it into my hundreds? Probably not. Maybe I should just money up for the 15-year mortgage, and that's really his perspective. Mine is, I don't care if it's 15 or 30, if it cash flows properly, I'm happy with it. And it's harder to make it cash flow on a 15, it would be better with a 30, but at the end of the day, I'm going to show you right here, it still cash flows beautifully. So those are my terms, a little quick aside right there. My monthly rental income from this property. Now again, one side's remodeled, one side's not. So one side's rented for $800 and the other's rented for $700. The total monthly income for this duplex is $1,500 a month. So from that $1,500, I now work all of my other figures and numbers for whether or not this is a good deal for me. So my principal and interest on the 15-year amortized loan is $565 a month. That's what I'm going to owe. My insurance through National Real Estate Insurance Group, NREIG, $73 a month. That's a fantastic deal. And I'm actually in the process of switching all my rental properties to NREIG. Again, if you want a referral, I'll send you my rep's email, no cost. I don't get a referral thing, but just they do a really good job here, and I've referred them now to a few of my friends who have rentals in the area. Taxes each month, I'm rounding up, but it's about $125 a month, give or take. My property manager, she charges 8% of the rental income, right? So all these percentages are being worked off the monthly rental income. She charges 8%, which is $120 a month. And then I always set aside for vacancies and maintenance 20% of the rental income. So, and that's even if they don't pay me that month. So let's say I got a tenant who doesn't pay me, or they don't pay enough, or you know, maybe we're going through an eviction. I set aside out of my personal account, I move into a vacancies and maintenance account the amount that I should have gotten, even if I didn't get it. So that $1,500, my 20% is $300, and $300 a month goes into my vacancies and maintenance account like clockwork. So after I take all of those expenses out of my rental income, my remaining amount left over monthly, or my profit, my monthly cash flow, is $317 a month. Not bad, right? At least not bad for my market and not bad for the deals that I look at. Maybe your market's better. Probably your market's worse. That's usually what I get from most folks, that their market is worse. So $317 a month, we multiply that by 12, so I get my yearly cash flow, and that's $3,804 a year. Now you might be saying to yourself, why am I putting in all this effort to be a landlord for only $3,800 a year? Well, that's where scale comes in. As this is now my 5th property, hopefully one day I get to 10, and then hopefully one day I get to 100. That's when you start to notice the exponential growth. But my return, my cash-on-cash return and my yield, how do we calculate that? I'm going to take my yearly return of $3,800 and divide that by the initial upfront capital it cost for me to acquire the property. So how much money did it take for me to buy this property? Well, we scroll back up and you take a look at my down payment. My down payment was $17,980, call it $18,000. And then, as I mentioned earlier, because there's no loan origination fees and there's no underwriting fees and no processing fees, there's no closing costs. So my down payment of 20% plus what I paid for the title search and the title insurance are my only cost to acquire this property. And I forgot to put a box in here for those things, but it was about $1,300, but I'm gonna round it up to $1,500. So we'll take my $18,000 down payment and my $1,500 for title search and insurance and call it a $19,500 cost to acquire. Well, I take my $3,804 yearly profit, divide that by the $19,500, and I end up with a cash-on-cash return, or a yield, of 19.5%. That, in my opinion, is a really good deal, especially given the fact that I pay attention to what other folks out there are getting. Most people aren't getting over 10%. Most people don't even believe you can get over 10%. And here I am on day one with no rent increases, able to clear 19.5%. Now remember, this only goes up from here as rents increase over time, which they always do. Especially this last year, the average rent increase has been like 25% for the nation. We're in an extremely inflationary period, unfortunately, and unfortunately for those folks out there who are renting and everything like that. Inflation is taking hold. Rents have increased drastically. I raised rent $200 a month on the duplex I live in here. Not on an existing tenant. They moved out and I moved somebody else new in, $200 a month more, and they paid me an entire year's worth of rent up front, $26,000. Wild. Anyways, don't let me get off on these side topics, guys. Seriously, but down in the comments, just tell me to shut up. All right, I'll feel the comments from the future to now when I'm recording this. 19.5%. This is the type of deal that I consider good. Michael Zuber always says you need to know what average is so you can do a good or great deal. Excuse me. This is a great deal. For my market, a good deal starts at cash flow of $250 a month or more. So anything less than $250 a month is average. $250 a month to like $300 a month is what I consider good, and then $300 a month and to anything higher than that is great. So this is a great real estate deal, and I only do great deals if I can. So 19.5% on that original money invested. I'm so excited and so blessed to have been able to find this. So guys, hopefully this video is beneficial. If you have questions about it, or if you want to connect with me, send me a message on Instagram, Millennial Mike. Follow me here on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. I respond to everybody. Sometimes it takes a few days, but I do respond to everybody. Guys, hopefully this video is beneficial, and thanks for watching as always. I'll catch you next time.